Welcome to Financial Issues, where we help you steward faithfully by honoring God with your investments. Now listen in as we give you the practical tools and advice you need to become a biblically responsible investor.
This is Financial Issues, where we help you defund darkness and fund the light by investing with biblical integrity. Merry Christmas, everyone. It's great to be with you this morning. Seth Udinsky, Samuel Case, and your host, Mark Manila. Mark, another show. I'm excited to get going. Let's rock and roll.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas, everyone. Thanks for inviting us into your life this morning. We're glad to be here. Hope you will join the party. The number here is 610-363-1110. So you can call in with your questions, your comments, or just wish us a Merry Christmas. We'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, you know, Mark, we get a lot of listeners every day. I'm sure someone is out there with a question. We'd love to take that question, folks. Give us a call right now. We'd love to talk to you. 610-363-1110, just like Mark said. Guys, on today's show, some exciting things. We see another win in favor of biblical faithfulness. This is coming from the state of Texas. Stay tuned on that front. We're going to talk about that in just a bit. Also, we'll tackle, Mark, the third of our 7 steps for a financially healthy new year. I'm looking forward to that as well. But and, of course, your calls, 610-363-1110. Before all of that, though, guys, very interesting stuff here. We saw yesterday, it looks like the NASDAQ composite is toying with the idea of extending its trading hours, and not just 1 hour on the end of the day, Mark, but apparently almost the whole day. Sam, what can you tell us?
No more sleeping.
That's right. No more sleeping for the NASDAQ.
Yeah, Seth, have you ever been at the Waffle House at 3 a.m. and thinking, man, I really want to place some trades? Well, now you might be able to do that. This week, the NASDAQ, they did file that paperwork with the SEC going almost 24 hours a day. It's going to be 23 hours a day, 5 days a week. The way this is going to work is trading is going to run from 4 a.m. to 8 p.m., followed by a 1 hour break, and then a night session that would run then from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. the next day. The daytime session would still include pre-market, regular, and post-market trading. Trades made between 9 p.m. and midnight would count toward the following trading day, and the trading week will now start on Sunday at 9 p.m. and then end on Friday at 8 p.m. Again, this is just for the NASDAQ. This, as of right now, does not apply to the Dow Jones or the S&P 500.
Mark, what do you think? Do you like this?
I don't know. Hurts my head a little bit. The reality is, I don't think this is really an access change. It's not a value creation. It's just going to open the markets. Maybe it'll allow for institutionals to be able to whip up some things at different hours a day. Maybe it'll help smooth out the markets a little bit, but I don't think it's a big deal. I think, instead of having pre-market and post-market trading going on, you're going to see a continuous trading going on. So I don't know. I think it's worth watching. It seems like there's one thing that's always been in my mind, probably for the last 10 years. Why do we even need the markets like they are? Why don't we get to the blockchain to where people are just trading from me to you, like instead of having all these intermediaries that are making all this money on it anyway? So if we could do that, that would even be better. But I guess this will do until then. The drawbacks, I think that it's going to change things. It's going to increase volatility. It may smooth out trading, but it's going to increase volatility. I think emotional decision making, like you said, Sam, 3 a.m. and somebody's on their 14th cup of coffee at Waffle House looking at their stocks, and they freak out over some bot pullback, and they start trading, and it creates a bunch of cascading trades for a while. I don't know.
Mark, what's the old expression? No one makes a good decision after midnight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. But it isn't always midnight. It's midnight here, but it's not midnight there.
True.
That's the thing. That's why the 24-hour trading. So it becomes more international in that situation. Long-term investments really doesn't benefit anymore from it. The discipline we have takes into effect pre-markets, post-market. We look at things not from a moment, not from a knee-jerk reaction, but from a long term. So it really wouldn't probably change much as far as how a steward invests, but how somebody who's timing the market, well, I guess you could you could get a coffee IV and stay up 24/7s and try and time the market every 6 seconds and see how that comes out for you, you know.
Yeah. You know, Mark, one of the things that that kind of brings some calm to my soul is, you know, after a tough day of trading, and I'm sure every single investor out there could say you've had some tough days in the markets. Doesn't bother me too much because I know I'm probably not selling out of these things unless they go non-BRI. But after a tough day, it is nice to come to 4 o'clock, 4:30 Eastern time and be able to say, okay, even if I was down, I'm not down anymore because the day's over. Will this impact that though? Like, will we see the numbers if we're watching?
Yeah, I think it's going to impact the psychology of trading.
Yeah.
It's going to, especially like I said, with global institutions, it's going to change that a lot. They'll be trading 24 hours. Maybe it'll even professional hedging and stuff like that will change a little bit, but I don't know. We'll have to see. I really don't know the impact of it. None of us do, but there may actually be a common effect to it. I know I've mentioned ways that it could cause panic and panic selling, you know, at midnight traders and stuff like that, day traders or even just not even day traders.
They'd be night traders.
Yeah,
that's right.
Night traders. We just coined that, folks. It's ours.
That's right,
night
it's ours.
traders.
That's a band name.
So no
Night
one
traders.
steal it out there if you're listening to us, you big folks out there. No, that's good, Mark. I'm grateful for your insight on that, and grateful too to know, you know, okay, something like this happens. In the final analysis, it's not really going to change what we do. We're long-term investors. We're in it for the long haul. We're not being swayed by the market. So even something like this, you know, we can keep on moving forward.
It is going to be fun to see how it affects all the metrics and everything, you know, with 24 hours of data instead of just 8.
Absolutely.
That's where I think we might benefit from it, is having stronger data for the decisions that we make.
Yeah, good. Folks, if you've got an opinion on that, we'd love to hear it. 610-363-1110. Give us a call right now, 610-363-1110. Elsewhere, guys, we did see the November payrolls number came in. Sam, give us the details here.
Right, so the jobs data is here, kind of a mixed bag because non-farm payrolls rose by 64,000 for the month. That did beat the estimates, and it is an improvement over October's decline of 105,000. But on the other hand, the unemployment rate, that jumped to 4.6%. That's higher than expected and is now at the highest rate since September of 2021.
What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, again, just numbers. I know that a lot of people, I've heard 3 different analysis of, and all 3 were different. You know,
you want to make it 4? Make it a 4th different one?
Yeah, let's make it a 4th. I think that the numbers aren't truly reflective yet. We're coming off of 2 months without numbers. So obviously, if we're going to see numbers come in, they're going to be revised heavily, I think, from the 2 months that nobody was doing the numbers and that kind of stuff as we saw the government shut down. But you know, it looks good to me when we see non-payroll rose 64,000 for the month. That's a very positive thing. What's not in these 2 numbers is I also heard that the private sector increased in employment. So that's positive,
good.
Where the government, the public side, actually lost 300,000 jobs. Well, I think that's Doge and Trump moving in. So that could have affected the unemployment numbers as well. So we look at this and we say, okay, this sounds bad, but if we're getting rid of fat in the government and the private sector is growing and non-farm payrolls are growing, this is a good thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like the inverse of the Biden era where you'd have the occasional good jobs report, then you find out they're all government jobs.
Yeah.
All the job losses
we
were
just
private.
expanded into 14 more NGOs that are being backed by the U.S. government, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Quickly here, guys, we also saw U.S. crude oil. Looks like it's dropping now below $55 a barrel. Sam, what's going on here?
Yep, below $55 per barrel. Traders are pricing in possibly a potential surplus. This is because OPEC is now ramping up production. There's also the possibility of that peace deal in Ukraine. Russia, of course, is a major player when it comes to oil, so that could have an effect there. More stabilization as well. Meanwhile, crude oil prices are down about 30 or 23% this year. Well, gasoline has also fallen below $3 per gallon for the first time in 4 years.
And we love it. We love it.
In PA, it's still above $3, though.
Yeah. Well, I would challenge some of those numbers there, not the dollar amounts, but why that's down. I heard that yesterday we're at 14 million barrels a day in the U.S. of pumping oil, which is high, is what this commenter was saying. And so the idea that it's all because of OPEC, I'm not believing that. I believe it's maybe because some of the new Trump drill baby drill stuff that's going on. And I'd love to see it below $2, gasoline below $2. Wouldn't that be awesome?
That'd be great.
I think it would. I think it would affect every aspect of our society in a very, very positive way, where we could start keeping more in our pockets and less to the fuel consumption.
Navigating through investment options can be challenging, especially when you're determined to uphold your God-given values. Every dollar you invest is a vote for the world that you want to live in. Let your values guide your investment decisions and help to shape the culture in which we live. Become a beacon of light and pave the way with biblically responsible investing. Timothy Plan, where faith and finance collide. Before investing, carefully consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the investment company. This and other important information can be found in the fund's prospectus. To obtain a copy, visit timothyplan.com or call 800-846-7526. Read each prospectus carefully before investing. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Are you tired of the chaos? There are a lot of things that make noise, but only a few that truly matter. As a parent, I want to leave something that will last for a long time.
Invest $300 a month increase on slowly by the time you retire.
Not just an inheritance of money, but a legacy of godly values.
Here at Financial Issues, we want to help you grow your money, but our main goal is to help you honor God with the money that He's given you.
Invest your money in a God-honoring way. Go to financialissues.org.
Preborn is making motherhood possible for thousands of moms across America.
I found out that I was pregnant. My family, they were like, no, you're not having this baby. I met Miss Linda. She offered to get me an ultrasound. That's where I very first heard the heartbeat. It was really a great thing that I was led to the choice to keep him.
To find out how you can support the life-saving mission of Preborn, go to preborn.com/FISM.
610-363-1110. Give us a call, folks. We'd love to hear from you. 610-363-1110. Again, 610-363-1110. Mark, I'm interested in being financially healthy this new year. And I know you have some strategies for that. Why don't we get to those here?
Yeah, well, number one was view debt with holy caution. Number two is build a moat around your castle. For those who've been listening, you know what that means. Number three, now that's today, is plan your taxes with wisdom, not guesswork. So why would we be talking about this? It seems like taxes, they take care of themselves, don't they? They take it out of your paycheck. They just, you file your taxes, and if you underpaid, you have to send a check. If you overpaid, you get money back. No big deal. But the reality is that it is a big deal, and here's why. Oftentimes when helping people plan their finances, especially those people who seem to be getting in debt, they take great pride in getting a big check back at the end of the year from the government for their taxes. And they say, well, it helps us because, at Christmas time, we'll go load up the credit cards for Christmas, and then we get this check back and we pay off some of the Christmas card, and then it starts over again. And I always thought to myself, well, this is really weird. So all year long, you're carrying debt on your credit card at 29% interest. And meanwhile, you're having extra money pulled out of your paycheck so that you can get a big check at the end of the year to help pay that off. So effectively what you did was loan the government money at 0% interest for a year while you paid 29% interest on money that you had to borrow because you were loaning it at 0 interest. Doesn't make any sense. It's not efficient. It's detrimental to your wealth. It just is not a good thing. So here's what you need to do is take a look at your paycheck or last year. Well, now it's going to be this year. When you file taxes this year, take a look at your return. If it's in the thousands, it's time to adjust your withholdings within your paycheck. So get it below $1,000 of over withholding. Doesn't, you can't get it exactly because there's things change a little bit. The laws change. Well, you can adjust it midway as well too. But if you adjust that down, then you'll have more income coming into your household, less credit card use, more freedom to put that money to work for you. Wouldn't it be nice to just take that extra, let's just say, and I'm going to use this for ease of math, you get $12,000 back last year. What if you would have had that extra $1,000 a month to put into the market? Wouldn't that have been nice? A lot of people listening had a really good return in the market, but instead they lost out on the opportunity to make good returns, 10, 20, 30%. Well, or like if you're like Sam, what are you, 100 or 200% now, Sam?
Like 500%,
500
I think is what Sam is.
Something like
he's they're dealing with some tech issues in there, so I'll speak for Sam.
Of course, we're joking about
Sam's returns. I think it's actually maybe 1,000 or 1,500 mark is what the numbers might be.
Yeah. So imagine having that money to put to work instead of just
You guys
just
gossiping about me?
Oh, Sam, were you listening to that?
He's back. So that's the whole idea. God calls us to be stewards over his money in our life. So the income that he's bringing into us, we want to steward that properly. We don't want to over withhold and we don't want to under withhold because we don't want any penalties or anything like that. So taking last year's taxes, assuming what's going on, if nothing major has changed, adjusting them to reflect the withholdings that you're going to owe, not to get a check back at the end of the year. If you need that discipline to save that money, then you could always have it taken out of your paycheck and put directly into your savings account or your money market somewhere, or go directly to your investment account. There's ways to do that as well, but lending it to the government at 0% interest is a losing strategy. In fact, let's illustrate this to the nth degree. Seth, let's say there's an investment that returns 50% a year every year. Now, obviously, this is make-believe, but what if there was? We'd all want that investment,
Can you
right?
tell us what it is, Mark? We'll just get involved right now.
We'd all want that. Okay, well, this is what we're going to do. Let's say that last year you lent the government $10,000. You got $10,000 back on your tax return. Instead of doing that, you give me that money. Instead of giving it to the government, I invest it and I make 50% a year. I make 50% on it. And then at the end of the year, I keep all the gains and I give you nothing back. I just give you your money back. Is that a fair deal?
I mean, it sounds like a pretty sweet deal for you.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's not for you, but as a good steward, a good deal for you would be to either putting that money at work or using it so that you don't have to use a credit card or debt, and or even using it to pay down debt. So I think it's very important to plan your taxes with wisdom and not guesswork. Stewardship thrives on getting it right, and that's what God's calling us to do. It isn't hard. There's all sorts of calculators online. You can just go online and say, I want to calculate my withholdings, and you can adjust your withholdings. A lot of people think if you're married, filing jointly, and have 2 kids, well, you can claim 3 dependents then. Okay, but you can claim 99 if you want. It isn't based on the physical dependence. It's based on how much you want withheld. You can even say, I want extra withheld. For example, a lot of business people will have pass-throughs like LLCs and subchapter S's. they'll adjust their tax withholding to withhold more because they oftentimes they'll have gains and they'll have profits passed through to them that they have to pay taxes on. Well, why not have it automatically taken out of your paycheck instead of having to go through quarterly returns and deposits? Just have that extra amount taken out automatically. You can adjust, bottom line, you can adjust your payroll withholdings to truly reflect what they should be and be more efficient with that. And being more efficient means you can care for others more, you can give more, you can even enjoy your life a little bit more.
That's great, Mark. Yep. 610-363-1110. Jay, we'll get to you in just a little bit there, brother. I see you in the call queue. Fill up those phone lines, folks. 610-363-1110. Mark, let's switch gears here for just a moment. It's always good to see wins. And, of course, today is Winning Wednesday.
Wednesday.
So what's going on in the state of Texas here, Sam? Some good news that we're seeing.
Right. New abortion law banning the distribution of the abortion pill took effect earlier this month. What this does is it, quote, prohibits the manufacturing, distribution, mailing, transportation, delivery, and prescription of abortion-inducing pills for the purposes of obtaining an illegal abortion. You can still use them for, I believe, an ectopic pregnancy, but for an abortion, you cannot use that at all or even distribute it. You'll get in big trouble. The way this is going to work is you'll be subject to a private lawsuit. So citizens can sue each other if they find out that they're using or distributing these abortion pills.
Interesting. Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a little hard for me to understand. I'm going to have to dig into that law. It sounds like it's a step in the right direction. I really hate the idea of the illegal abortions or, alleyway abortions or, people selling pills that they're not sure what they are or that kind of stuff. So this sounds like it'd be a really good thing to help people to make sure they go to a doctor and only use these drugs for the type of things that are absolutely necessary. It sounds like a good step to me. I'm praising God. Maybe a few more babies will be born. Maybe a few more Einsteins will come around. Maybe we'll be able to glorify God more by protecting the unborn.
Sam, I'm glad you had mentioned that piece about the ectopic pregnancy too, because I know that was a talking point among people on the left, is that they were saying, well, if a woman has an ectopic pregnancy, she's not going to be able to her life's not going to be able to be saved. Essentially, if she gets pregnant, she's going to die. That's what they did. They literally, they would use that language to try to shoehorn passing these pills that murder babies, so that, using
which I believe they actually cause ectopic pregnancies, don't they?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's no surprise, right, that a drug that murders a child also has harmful effects on the woman who uses it, right? Are we surprised by that?
It is so sad.
It really is. And Mark, this is why it's so great to know we're partnered with a ministry like Preborn. I love Preborn, especially
I couldn't get them out of my mind. Yeah. As Sam was reading, as we were talking, I kept just praising God for Preborn right now. Here's an organization that is just put together to help babies be born, to help moms embrace their child.
Yeah.
How awesome is that?
Absolutely. And Mark, especially this time of year, you think about, there was so much activity going on surrounding the birth of the Lord Jesus Christ before he was born, when he was in the womb. And of course, his cousin John, who was in the womb as well at that point, leapt inside of the womb when he came close to the Lord in the womb as well. That and countless other verses that where we see, God clearly standing against the murder of the innocent. If anyone tries to use the ridiculous argument that the Bible is not wholeheartedly anti-abortion, I'm not really sure where else you can look. You're burying your head at the sand at that point. So yes, Preborn, God bless them. They're just doing amazing work. It's really awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And we need them. We need them and many others. And we need you and everybody else in the world to come to get their mindset right. Life is sacred. Life is God-giving. Life is something that we should not even toy with in the least amount. I mean, I know we have wars and we have all this ugliness after the womb, but that doesn't make it okay to take that into the womb. The safest place on earth should be the womb. That's my feeling.
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. Folks, preborn.com/FISM, or you can call them pound 250 and say keyword baby. If you're considering a place to make a Christmas offering, a year-end gift, Preborn would be a great, great place to do it. Guys, before the end of the segment, let's take a quick look here at the markets. Yesterday, it was that better than expected jobs report that we saw. Sam teed up earlier for us. The markets continued slightly downward, though they did end mixed. The Dow Jones ended up down about 0.6%. The S&P 500 was down about 0.25%. The NASDAQ evidently must have been excited about its possibility of now being able to trade for 23 hours a day because it finished positive. It was up about 0.25%. So that's what we're looking at this morning. Or that's what we looked at yesterday, right before the markets open. Everything pretty much unchanged at this point. So we'll see what happens there. Folks, I do hope you'll call in 610-363-1110 and consider getting yourself a copy of Mark's book, The Wall Street Awakening. Mark, I love plugging this book. I love reading this book. I'm reading through it right now. Great stocking stuffer. If you make a donation of any amount to the ministry up through the end of December, we will give you a copy of this book if you ask for it. So you just got to make sure that you say in the subject line, I'd like a copy of Mark's book. Or if you call us, you want to make a donation the old-fashioned way, send a check. Just let us know that you want a copy of the Wall Street Awakening also, You have to leave us. Hope you have a great rest of the day. More financial issues on the other side. Give us a call, 610-363-1110.
Every day, kids all across America are coming to school with some kind of hidden pain.
I've seen kids come in who are just so confused about what's right and what's wrong, just having no idea that God loves them. And this just breaks my heart. Crossroads has the opportunity to bring the Word of God right into the public school, to reach children right where they are.
And when we see that happen, we see God changing lives.
We want to see kids not only come to Christ, but pursue a lifelong relationship with Him. And so local churches are uniquely positioned to disciple those children as they become young adults and through their lifespan.
Crossroads comes alongside a church and provides that church with a club structure, curriculum, training, and ongoing coaching for them to run these outreaches in public schools.
If you are burdened for the children of America, consider making a donation to Crossroads Kids Club. For more information, visit reachOurschools.com. That's reachOurschools.com.
Most people have no idea what their money is funding. In many cases, they are unknowingly supporting companies that contradict their values. That's why it's important to know investing in and what they stand for. Issues invest with biblical values. Our daily life broadcast the economy, markets, and even politics through a fine biblical worldview. But we don't stop at just commentary. We equip believers to manage their own portfolios, offering research-backed asset allocation models, biblically responsible stock recommendations, and practical guidance. You manage your money. We do the research. And for what works out to be only $11 a month, you get access to everything you need to invest with conviction. If you're ready to align your faith with your finances, go to financialissues.org. That's financialissues.org.
When a woman comes into a center, she's being pressured from her family, from her friends, by her circumstances, by the rhetoric of the culture to believe that this is a quick and easy way out. If a woman sees her baby on ultrasound, it doubles the likelihood that she'll choose life. And on top of that, we share the gospel of Jesus Christ with her. This is why you should support Preborn. The donations that you give actually make a difference. Last year, 59,000 babies were saved because of what you have done with your generosity. And so we just encourage you to make a difference at whatever degree you can, whether you can do a $28 contribution for one ultrasound, whether you can underwrite an ultrasound machine for $15,000 or 10 ultrasound machines for $150,000. Where does the Lord have you so that you can make a difference?
To find out how you can support the life-saving mission of Preborn, go to preborn.com/FISM.
Folks, 610-363-1110. We would just love to hear from you. 610-363-1110. Mark, let's get to the phones right now, shall we? Let's go to the state of Texas and talk to Jay.
Good morning, Jay. Welcome to Financial Issues. Merry Christmas.
Good morning, Mark and your crew. just real quick before I start, Christians are promised heaven and to be with God after we die. But while we're here on earth, the other part of that promise, the peace that passes understanding, is really to the heart of what you do. I'm 81, and I've had two big companies handle my finances, and they both ended up in flames. So I thought, well, I can lose my own money. So
I could do that.
Yeah. So I use Charles Schwab, and they've been very good. But financial issues, starting with Dan, has given me peace that passes understanding.
Praise God.
That is so important, especially when you're at my age and you're looking at the world and the way it is. But I just wanted to thank you and tell you that you really have given me peace that passes understanding. I don't even worry about my finances anymore, and I used to worry about it a lot because we're playing in this world right now, and that's this world. But anyway, CS65, okay?
Okay. Yeah, that's Coca-Cola Consolidated.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And I'd like to take a moment before you go on, just so everybody listening knows, this isn't Coca-Cola, the company, which its symbol is CO, but this is Coca-Cola Consolidated, a totally separate entity. So the sins of its like name, which is a company that owns all the rights to the formulas and all that kind of stuff, that's different than this company. This company is clean.
So in other words, though, do they distribute Coca-Cola?
Right.
Or
bottling and distributor, right. So effectively, Coca-Cola, the company, Coca-Cola, that invented Coca-Cola and has other parts of its business and different drinks and stuff, they are a client of Coca-Cola Consolidated.
Okay.
So it'd be like somebody who builds bridges. The state of Chicago could be their client, but that doesn't mean the person building the bridge is sharing in their sin.
I got it. But adding to the confusion, they've had a stock buyback or a stock buy, and how does that affect Coke, C-O-K-E, and I'm confused about this buyback, this company buyback of stock and so forth. So, would you mind explaining that just a little bit?
Sure. More often than not, a buyback is a good indication that the company thinks their stock is undervalued, and they're buying it back to increase their balance sheet, to make it stronger, also to enhance the purchasing of the stock. Oftentimes that can cause the stock to rise. I think we saw back in August that something came out about this, and the stock went from, I don't know, maybe it was like 130 to where it is today, which is like 160, 162, somewhere in there, 150. I don't know where it is right at the moment, but so we saw.
In May they had. Go ahead. In May they had a split too on this stock, I believe.
Yeah, so they're doing some things. They're trying to enhance the stock price, which is good. The management on this has been doing pretty good. They've been bringing down their debt. That was one of the things that concerned us. Their debt was pretty high, debt to equity, and now that's been coming down. They're doing this buyback. It's still a little risky in some ways, but and the price has been going sideways since, I guess, the beginning of December after the runoff, after the news, the run-up after the news of this buyback and the other things that they were doing. So it could impact the price, and I think it did. It caused it to rise, and it could help with all the metrics that we look at to decide whether it should be on a buy or hold from a financial issues long-term investment concept. Right now, it's on a hold. But it's Mostly it's on a hold right now because of the valuation and its debt being a little bit high. I could see it in the future if they continue management like this, that in the not too far future, seeing it move to back on our buy list. One that we would say, okay, this is worth looking at for new investors, those who don't own it yet.
Okay. Well, it's certainly been good to me. And once again, I thank you.
Well, God bless you. Merry Christmas, my friend.
And right back to all of you.
Thank you, Jay. Merry Christmas, brother. 610-363-1110. Mark, I think we can squeeze Robert from South Carolina in here. Why don't we go to him?
Let's do that. Good morning, Robert. What's on your mind this morning?
Mark, how are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you. You doing okay? And is everything good? And what is it? You're in Arkansas? No, South Carolina.
No, I'm in South Carolina.
You're in South Carolina, yeah. Yeah, good. Are you ready to celebrate Christmas? You got your Santa hat on and ready to go?
The yard is decorated and we're ready to roll, Bo.
Well, good. Well, what's on your mind this morning?
Okay, we had an issue a couple of years ago. You're talking about taking out taxes, and I'm retired, and we have basically an IRA, and I actually have more than one, but we have one set of IRAs with Schwab and some with another organization. And the organization they're straight up. That organization tells me that every time I take money out of that account that I have to pay 20% to the federal government. So what happened last year, the year before last, I didn't take enough. And so last year I took too much. And mainly it was because of that 20% take, because I try to keep it where we don't pay any more than 12%. And so we had a return of about $10,000 last year. The problem is I had a problem with the IRS, and they held that money. We just got the money a week ago. So my question is it a law that we're supposed to hold out 20% out of all IRA accounts? They tell me that Schwab has to do it, but they don't do it because it's not enforced by IRS.
Okay, there are laws for other types of tax-qualified accounts that if you take money out of them, they do have to withhold. So an example would be a distribution from a 401k or, well, I'm trying to think where that came into effect. But yeah, there are some accounts. Are you sure this is just a traditional IRA, not a SEP or a simple?
Well, I think this thing is a 403B. I'm retired.
There's the issue. That is the law on those. They will withhold 20% automatically for you when you withdraw from that. Now, if Mark, you're retired, why not roll that 403B over to an IRA, into your IRA?
Mark, why don't I jump in for just a second here? Robert, if you can hang on with us, because we got the Ag Report coming up, stay with us through the break, brother. And Mark, maybe we can get back to Robert at the start of the next segment. Does that sound good?
Are you good with that, Robert?
Awesome. Well, why don't we go to the ag now, and then we can get to Robert. Here comes Craig, folks.
This is Craig Haugaard with your weekly financial issues ag focus. Today, I want to talk to you about the impact of government policy on rural America. The poster child for governmental impact in rural America has to be ethanol. The expansion of biofuel production is one of the most significant developments affecting agricultural markets this century. In the United States, the surge of biofuels industry was largely driven by policies that promoted the use of increased amounts of ethanol in U.S. transportation's fuel supply system. Those mandates, known as the Renewable Fuel Standard, originated with the Energy Policy Act of 2005, but were significantly expanded by the Energy Independence and Security Act of 2007. The Renewable Fuel Standard included an annual requirement for total use of biofuels, predominantly ethanol. Those biofuel policies have had a major impact in the U.S. The demand for ethanol added a sizable new source of demand for corn, which in turn put upward pressure on commodity prices. This resulted in more corn being produced in the U.S., U.S. as well as growth in corn production around the world. For example, in the year 2000, U.S. farmers produced 9.4 billion bushels of corn, with 630 million bushels being used to produce ethanol. Now let's leap ahead to the most recent year when America's farmers raised 14.9 billion bushels of corn, with a whopping 5.4 billion bushels being used in the production of ethanol. In a quarter of a century, corn production in the U.S. has increased by 5.5 billion bushels, and nearly all of that increase has been turned into ethanol. It's not an exaggeration to say that the governmental policy that drove the ethanol expansion resulted in higher prices for both corn and farmland, increased planting of corn, reduced diversification and crop rotation, intensified crop production practices, and promoted greater use of nitrogen fertilizer, and really an expansion of cultivated cropland as we saw some acres that had not been farmed come back into production to meet this ginned-up demand by the government policy. U.S. government policies limit agriculture through a complex web of regulations, subsidies, and trade agreements that can inadvertently create inefficiencies, restrict innovation, and hinder the competitiveness of agriculture. Hopefully, we'll see the days of government intervention come to an end, but as in the case of ethanol, where the cat's already out of the bag, we're going to have to really tread lightly to make sure we don't absolutely collapse the rural economy. Well, this has been Craig Haugaard with your Financial Issues Ag Focus. We'll be right back with more financial issues after this.
I started investing close to 30 years ago now. All that time, I had never heard anyone talk about setting up your portfolio in a way that glorifies God. When I first heard about it, I was listening to the radio, a show called Financial Issues. They were teaching people how to honor God with their money. I became a partner with Financial Issues, and it's been one of the best decisions I've made. Invest your money in a God-honoring way. Go to financialissues.org.
I remember my life before I met Jesus. I was most of the time afraid. I remember one of my teachers gave the classroom an invitation for Crossroads. When they talked to me about the love of God, I felt a sort of peace in my heart. I will commit myself to learn more about God's Word, to be able to share the gospel to others.
To help reach more kids like Louise with the life-changing hope of the gospel, visit reachOurSchools.com.
In the last 10 to 15 years being in ministry, being married, something that has been constant in our lives is Samaritan Ministries. As we've moved, we've had babies, we've had different things come up, we have just been able to rely on Samaritan in ways that we never really even thought about before becoming members.
Our heart's desire is to plant roots and be in a place for a really long time. It's how we were raised. We see the benefits of that, but we also see the open-handedness of being used by the Lord wherever He calls, because we just assumed when we started pursuing church planting, the quickest way to get from point A to point B is a straight line. And with the Lord, sometimes you find out it looks a lot more like this. And yet, Samaritan was with us through the entire thing.
We didn't have to look into, we have to change insurances now because we've moved states or whatever the case may be. And it's just been a real blessing to us in different phases of life.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Colleen.
We're the Gen X.
And we're Samaritan members.
The opinions and recommendations expressed on this program do not necessarily represent the opinions of the station or any of the program sponsors. Additionally, all products or services offered by the program sponsors may not be known by the program.
Folks, let me read you something here real quick. It was the week before Christmas, and Wall Street took flight, with rate cuts from the Fed bringing markets delight. That's just a little taste of the beautiful, amazing work of poetry that Mark Manila crafted for this week's commentary. If you're not a partner, you are missing out. You got to become a partner simply for the commentary. 'Twas the Night Before Christmas poem. Mark, I love that. That's awesome. Delightful.
Mark is a Renaissance man. He has so many talents.
Fantastic.
Enough.
That's awesome. Well, guys, let's get back to the phones. I know we had to hold Robert on there from South Carolina. Robert, you still with us, brother?
I'm still here.
Yeah, thank you, Robert. I appreciate you waiting. I wanted to come back to discuss this because on a 403B, they do, by law, they have to withhold that 20%. So, but here's this key. If you're retired, why not just roll over that 403B to your traditional IRA? You have the right to do that. There'll be no tax impact from doing it. You do a trustee to trustee transfer. It goes in, and then when you want to pull out money, from your Schwab IRA, traditional IRA, there's no withholding that is done. You can make a deposit of 12% if you want, if you pull out a lump sum, if that's where your marginal tax bracket or your bottom line comes out to be every year. So it'd be easier to do that. And that'd be my suggestion, to get away from having any conflicts with that 20% being withheld and the IRS questioning anything that's and you taking them a year to get you your money.
Yeah, that's a great idea. The reason I set it up as a 403B is because preachers get housing allowances.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, but if the only issue is if you ever move it, Mark, you can't. I moved it away from an organization that wasn't biblically responsible, and I moved it into Timothy. So, and they have to take it. So I know they're telling me the truth, but and I haven't been able to take the housing allowance because of that. But I well made it up with FISM. I mean, it doesn't bother us a bit. We're doing great.
And if it's gone anyway, simplify your life. Whenever I think simplicity with the more you can simplify your finances, the more you can systematize them, the easier it is to manage them, and the more fruitful you can be in managing them. That's just my thought on that 403B idea. Is if there's no great advantage to maintaining a 403B, move it into the traditional IRA and have the flexibility to take out what you want when you want and pay what amount you want in taxes on your own until the government comes and says you paid too much or too little again.
Well, I appreciate you guys. God bless you guys, and Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Robert. Wonderful. 610-363-1110. Folks, we got time. If you want to get in the call queue, do it right now. We got some time to get to you. Mark, let's get to a question here, shall we? William is 70 years old, and he's asking, hey, Mark, as the market approaches 50,000, some are predicting large sell-offs. Will the asset allocation models be shifting towards more cash or cash equivalents? I'm 70. I'm working. Currently use the FISM growth and income model. What do you think, Mark?
Excellent question, actually, and a lot more complicated probably than it needs to be. But, in reality, we're long-term investors, right? Let's set that down. We're long-term. We're investing in companies we call made of steel, and that means we look at the internals on that company. We look at their debt. We look at their earnings. We look at their profits. We look at all the fundamentals of that company and the metrics and see if they're made of steel. Those are the companies we want to invest in. If we're doing that, even if there is pullbacks and things like that, we're still invested for the long term. Now, occasionally you might hear us say something like, okay, if you're selling, we're putting this on taking it off our buy list, maybe it's going to hold, or if it's reached its BRI, or if the fundamentals broke down, if something happened and we don't trust the stock anymore or want to associate with it because of BRI offenses, we will say it is now a sell. We wouldn't recommend anybody holding it anymore. We wouldn't hold it ourselves. When we do that, obviously cash is generated from the sell. And at that point, we might say if the markets are turbulent or if there's a lot involved, if the markets actually are on a major pullback or doing something like that, we might say something like keep the dry powder. Keep the money in cash at this point unless we find some rogue stocks that are just defying everything that we could present to you for your evaluation to decide if you wanted to get into them. That's the bottom line on that. Now, expanding the cash proportion of the asset allocation, that could happen if we really did enter into a bear market, but it wouldn't be of any significance at this point. It really wouldn't be, because there's other alternatives to doing that. The diversification is one of the ways we help minimize the dips and the ups and downs of the roller coaster as we try to guide towards long-term gains. So, I think that really comes down to what it is: valuations, fundamentals, those kind of things. That's what drives allocation shifts. If, for example, technology just went out of favor for a long period of time, we'd probably reduce technology down a bit and move it into other areas. Like right now, we're seeing healthcare and precious metals. But then again, we're seeing things come out where people are predicting a long bear market for precious metals once it peaks out. So we're not going to just adjust flippantly off of rumors or ideas or projections from somebody. It's going to we're going to have to see numbers that make us feel like the best play at this point is to go to cash. And here's why. Cash itself, everybody thinks cash is safe, but it is, cash isn't safe in the sense that every day you have money just sitting in cash, you are losing money because of taxes and inflation. And that's the bottom line on it. Most money markets don't keep up with taxes and inflation. We have periods where it does, and that's wonderful, but most of the time it doesn't. So cash is unproductive. We want it to be productive. Yeah, I know it feels better if you're not losing money for a bit, but just also remember, bear markets last 1/6 of the time that the bull markets do. And nobody can tell for certain when the markets are going to turn around or when they're going to go down. So if we're investing for the long term, sometimes we just ride that roller coaster through those and just push on through because we know that, or we hope that you have stocks made of steel that also have long-term positive aspects to their potential, meaning they have great products and they're coming out and they've proven they've come out with more and more great products and they have great cash flows and their pipelines are full and things like that. So expanding cash from, like 3% to 10% is something I don't see in the future, but having periods where we're saying, okay, for this short period of time, while the markets figure out what they're doing, where we see the shifting moving from one area to another, we might say it might be a good time that if you're selling anything or if you have any money to take your time going back in, keep some dry powder because there could be all sorts of opportunities coming up to utilize that money for. I hope that answers your question.
That's great, Mark. Got time for one more here.
God bless you, sir.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, William. Ernie's 71, and Ernie's saying, Mark, I'm just getting started with financial issues. When should I stop buying stocks and get into something more reliable and safe for my retirement? He does not say if he's retired yet or if he's nearing retirement, Mark.
Yeah, 71. All right. Well, Congratulations. I'm glad you're having a nice long life. And if you haven't retired, congratulations on working. Sometimes work gives meaning to people, and that's okay. That's all right, to be productive. I think God created us to be productive. But addressing the question, when should you get out of stocks and into something safer? Is that how it was?
Yeah, that's kind of what he phrased it as.
Something more reliable,
for something more reliable and safe. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We don't move from stocks to safe. What we do is we move from stocks to income for a more diversified portfolio. The safe aspect of it, I know what you're trying to say, though, less volatile, less ups and downs in it. What happens over time is we use a growth model for just accumulating and creating wealth. Then as time goes on, when we need to diversify more to take more of the ups and downs out because you don't have the recovery time that you had with the stocks for long-term investing, we start moving in income. That's why we have the growth and income model. If you're in a full growth model at this point, I would suggest you start moving a step at a time into the income model. If something comes off your buy list, you can then take that money and move into some of the stocks that are some of the stocks or some of the REITs or some of the things that are on the buy list that are more income producing. They'll help stabilize, reduce the volatility in your portfolio. And as time goes on, you can move more and more. But you never want to get totally out of investing, because if you do out of investing in stocks, you lose the potential to maintain the income. If you just had income producing assets, over time, inflation would erode that spending potential. You need the stocks to increase your portfolio to help maintain that income. I hope that answers your question. I think it was a great question, actually. Thank you, and have a Merry Christmas, sir. And for everybody out there who's with us, I want to thank you for loving the Lord so much that you invest with biblical integrity. And I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and hope you join us tomorrow for the show, because we miss you if you don't. God bless everyone.
If we ever forget that we're one nation under God, then we will be a nation gone under.
Thank you for joining us. This has been an FISM production.